180 kilometers from the nearest coastline, surrounded by nothing but endless waves. No ships in sight, no floating debris. Just a German shepherd, swimming desperately against currents that should have claimed his life hours ago. When marine biologist Elena Rodriguez spotted movement in his research vessel's sonar, she expected to find a struggling dolphin or sea turtle. What she discovered instead would change her life forever and expose a truth that someone powerful wanted to keep hidden beneath the waves. "I've been studying marine life for 15 years, Elena would later tell reporters. "I've seen things most people wouldn't believe, but nothing prepared me for this." The Pacific waters were choppy that morning. Dark clouds gathered on the horizon, promising a storm that would make research impossible by afternoon. Elena and her small team of 3 had been tracking unusual dolphin migration patterns for the University of California's Marine Biology Department. "Just one more reading," Elena had insisted, eyes fixed on her tablet as data streamed in. That's when Marcos, her research assistant, called out from the monitor station. "I'm picking up something strange on sonar. Too big for a dolphin, too small for a whale." Elena frowned, setting down her equipment. The vessel's engines hummed as they adjusted course. "Probably debris," she said, reaching for her binoculars. "Or maybe a sea turtle." But as the shape came into focus through the lens, Elena's heart nearly stopped. "Oh my God," she whispered. "That's a dog." The German shepherd's dark fur was slick with salt water, its powerful legs churning desperately against the waves. With each swell, the dog disappeared, then resurfaced moments later, fighting with remarkable determination. "Hard to port," Elena shouted to Marcos at the helm, "and cut the engines when we're close." The research vessel sliced through the water. Elena stripped off her jacket and kicked off her shoes. "You can't go in," protested her colleague Amara. "The currents are too strong." But Elena was already securing a safety line around her waist. "If I don't, that dog is dead in minutes." The water hit Elena like ice, despite the warm air temperature. Salt burned her eyes as she swam toward the struggling animal, trying to ignore the vastness beneath her. "Easy," she called as she approached. "I'm here to help." The German shepherd looked at her with intelligent eyes that showed no panic, just exhaustion. As Elena reached out, the dog didn't struggle or try to swim away. Instead, it seemed to understand, allowing her to wrap her arm around its broad chest. "I've got you," she whispered, kicking back toward the boat where her team was lowering a rescue platform. Getting an 80-pound waterlogged German shepherd onto a research vessel was no simple task. The dog tried to help, its claws scratching against the metal platform, but its strength was nearly gone. "Pull!" Elena shouted as she pushed from below while her colleagues heaved from above. With one final effort, the dog collapsed onto the deck. Its chest heaved with labored breaths, sides trembling with exhaustion. Dark fur clung to its powerful frame, revealing an unnaturally thin body. Elena knelt beside it, carefully checking for injuries. "No collar," she noted, running her hands gently along its neck. "No chip that I can feel. Male, probably 3 to 4 years old." The dog's eyes never left her face. "How did you get out here, boy?" she whispered. "What happened to you?" As if in answer, the dog's tail thumped once against the deck. The storm hit just as they turned back toward shore. 3-meter waves crashed against the hull as Elena huddled in the cabin with the German shepherd. She'd wrapped him in thermal blankets and managed to coax him to drink fresh water from a bowl. "We're still 6 hours from land," Marcos called from the helm. "If he's injured internally—" "I know," Elena interrupted, running her hands carefully along the dog's ribcage. "But I don't think he is. He's dehydrated, exhausted, but his breathing is steadying." What troubled her most were the markings she discovered while drying him. Along his left flank, partially hidden by fur, was a strange pattern, not a natural marking or scar, but what appeared to be a symbol or logo that had been dyed into his coat. "What is that?" Amara asked, peering over Elena's shoulder. Elena parted the fur carefully. The marking was circular with what looked like a stylized wave pattern and the letters P.O. "I have no idea," Elena admitted. "But it's deliberate. Someone put it there." The German Shepherd watched them with those intelligent eyes, alert despite his exhaustion. When Elena's fingers traced the marking, he tensed slightly, the first defensive reaction he'd shown. "It's okay," she soothed. "We're trying to help." By the time they reached the marina in Monterey, night had fallen. Elena had already called ahead to a veterinarian she knew who specialized in marine mammal rehabilitation. "I know he's not a sea lion," she'd explained on the phone, "but I need someone who understands saltwater exposure." Dr. Patel was waiting at the dock, medical bag in hand. He'd brought a stretcher, but to everyone's surprise, the German Shepherd stood on shaky legs and walked down the gangplank himself, staying close to Elena's side. In the small clinic's examination room, Dr. Patel worked methodically, checking the dog's vitals, drawing blood, examining ears and eyes for saltwater damage. "His body temperature is back to normal," he reported. "Heart rate strong, lungs clear," which is remarkable considering how long he must have been in the water. "How long could a dog survive swimming in the ocean?" Elena asked. Dr. Patel shook his head. "Hours, not days. Certainly not in the open sea. Even the strongest dog would eventually become exhausted and drown." "Then how?" "I don't know," the vet admitted. "But what I do know is that this isn't just any German Shepherd. Feel this." He guided Elena's hand to the dog's shoulder muscles. "This is specialized muscle development. This dog has been trained for something demanding, military, search and rescue, perhaps even aquatic work specifically. His lung capacity must be exceptional." Dr. Patel examined the marking next, photographing it carefully. "I've never seen anything like this, but I have contacts who might know." As they finished the examination, the vet hesitated. "Protocol says I should call animal control. He has no chip, no identification except this strange marking." Elena looked at the German Shepherd, who hadn't taken his eyes off her since the rescue. Something unspoken passed between them. "Give me 48 hours, she said quietly. "There's more to this story." Elena's apartment wasn't designed for a large dog. The one bedroom overlooking Monterey Bay was perfect for a marine biologist who spent most of her time on research vessels or at the university lab, not for housing a mysterious German Shepherd. Yet here they were. She made a bed from blankets in the living room, filled a bowl with water, and set out some plain chicken she'd asked Dr. Patel for. "This is temporary," she told the dog as he surveyed his new surroundings. "Just until we figure out where you belong." The German Shepherd moved with surprising grace for an animal that had been fighting for its life hours earlier. He inspected the apartment methodically, sniffing at doorways, windows, even the air vents. His behavior wasn't random. It was systematic, almost like a security sweep. When he'd completed his circuit, he returned to Elena and sat directly in front of her, his posture perfect, eyes expectant. "You're waiting for instructions, aren't you?" she realized. That night, Elena couldn't sleep. She sat at her laptop, searching for reports of dogs lost at sea, specialized canine training programs, anything that might explain what she'd found. The German Shepherd lay nearby, not sleeping either, just watching. Around 2 a.m., a helicopter passed overhead, routine for the coastal area with its naval facilities nearby. The dog's reaction was immediate and alarming. He leapt to his feet, body rigid, ears forward, completely alert. He moved to the window, staying carefully to the side rather than directly in front of it. "Hey, it's okay," Elena said softly. The dog didn't relax until the sound had completely faded. In the morning, Elena called her colleague, Dr. James Chen, who specialized in marine mammal communication but had previously worked with naval research programs. "I need to show you something," she said. "Something impossible." Dr. Chen arrived carrying a tablet and a small device that looked like a handheld scanner. His eyebrows raised when he saw the German Shepherd. "This is your miracle survivor?" he asked, kneeling slowly. The dog allowed Chen to approach but maintained a careful distance. "May I?" Chen asked Elena, holding up the scanner. She nodded. Chen ran the device along the dog's body, stopping when it beeped near the shoulder blade. "Thought so," he murmured. "Not a standard microchip. This is military grade." "Military," Elena repeated. Chen nodded, tapping commands into his tablet. "I've seen these before. They don't just store ID information, they record biometric data, heart rate, body temperature, stress indicators. Why would a dog need that? Because this isn't just a dog, Chen said, showing her the screen. According to this chip, you've rescued Asset P7 Oceanic from the Pacific Resilience Program. What's the Pacific Resilience Program? Chen's expression darkened. A highly classified research initiative studying extreme survival capabilities. I only know about it because they approached our lab for consultation years ago. We declined. He scrolled through more data. This dog, or Asset as they call him, was part of an experiment testing extended survival in open water conditions. Elena felt sick. They just left him out there? To see how long he'd survive. That's what it looks like, Chen confirmed. According to this data, he was deployed 72 hours before you found him. Deployed? You mean abandoned. The German Shepherd watched this exchange intently, head tilted slightly as if understanding their rising anger. Chen lowered his voice. There's more. The marking PO stands for Project Oceanus. They've been selectively breeding and training dogs with enhanced swimming capabilities, improved lung capacity, and extreme stress resilience. Elena paced the small apartment. This is animal cruelty. We need to report this. To whom? Chen asked. This has military classification, and technically this dog is government property. The German Shepherd stood and walked to Elena's side, pressing against her leg gently. He's not property, she said firmly. He's alive, he's intelligent, and he made a choice to survive. Chen studied them both. There's something else you should know. They'll be looking for him. That night, Elena couldn't sleep. She sat on her balcony, watching the moonlight on the bay, while the German Shepherd lay at her feet. I should give you a name, she said finally. I can't keep calling you Asset. The dog's ears perked up. How about Neptune, god of the sea who couldn't claim you? His tail thumped against the wooden deck. Neptune it is. A soft knock at her door made them both tense. Neptune rose silently, positioning himself between Elena and the entrance. Through the peephole, Elena saw Chen looking nervous. They know, he said when she opened the door. I received an inquiry from a research group asking about scanning equipment I requisitioned today. They're tracking the chip remotely. Elena's mind raced. How long do we have? Hours, maybe less. They'll start with official channels, animal control, local veterinarians, but when that fails, Neptune watched them, alert and seemingly understanding the tension. I need to disable the chip, Elena decided. That's not simple field surgery, Chen warned, and it may not be enough. They'll still have his DNA, his training responses. Elena knelt beside Neptune, running her hand along his powerful shoulder. What would you choose? She asked him directly. If you could decide. Neptune held her gaze, then did something remarkable. He walked to the apartment door, scratched it once, then returned to Elena's side and sat. Message received. We're leaving, she said. By dawn, Elena's small Honda was packed with essentials. Neptune sat in the passenger seat, watching the coastline disappear in the side mirror as they headed inland. Elena had called in sick to the university, withdrawn cash from her account, and left her cell phone in a locker at the marina with a note for Amara to find it later. Chen had performed a quick procedure to disable the tracking functions of Neptune's chip, though removing it entirely would require specialized equipment. Head north, Chen had advised. I know someone near Portland who can help with the chip extraction. After that, well, it's best I don't know. They drove through the day, stopping only at isolated rest areas where Neptune could stretch his legs without being noticed. At each stop, he performed the same ritualistic check of their surroundings before allowing himself to relax. Late that afternoon, while refueling at a small gas station in Oregon, Elena noticed a black SUV pull in behind them. Two men in casual clothes that somehow still looked like uniforms stepped out, scanning the area. Neptune, she whispered. In the car, now. The German Shepherd responded instantly to the tension in her voice, slipping into the Honda without a sound. Elena paid quickly and pulled away, heart pounding. In the rearview mirror, she saw one of the men speaking into a phone, eyes locked on her departing vehicle. They found us, she told Neptune, who sat rigid in the seat beside her. How did they find us? The answer came to her suddenly, the gas station security cameras. Facial recognition software. They weren't tracking Neptune, they were tracking her. Elena made a split-second decision, veering off the highway onto a Forest Service road. The SUV appeared in her mirror minutes later. We can't outrun them, she realized. Neptune's ears were forward, his body tense but not fearful. He seemed to be waiting for something, a decision, a command. The road narrowed, trees pressing in on either side. Up ahead, Elena could see it ended at what looked like a ranger station. A dead end. She stopped the car and turned to Neptune. I don't know what they trained you for, or what they did to you, she said quietly. But I know you're extraordinary, and I know you deserve to be free. Neptune held her gaze with those intelligent eyes. We have two choices, Elena continued. We surrender, and I'll fight for you legally, expose what they've done, or... She looked out at the dense forest surrounding them. Neptune followed her gaze, then back to her face. Without hesitation, he pressed his muzzle against the car window release. The window lowered. Another choice made. 6 months later, a small cabin stood nestled in the mountains of northern Washington. Solar panels gleamed on the roof. A vegetable garden flourished beside it. And on the wide front porch, a German shepherd with intelligent eyes surveyed his domain. Elena emerged from the cabin, coffee in hand. Her hair was shorter now, her skin tanned from outdoor work. She sat beside Neptune, scratching behind his ears. Water levels look good, she told him. Fish population recovering nicely. After escaping into the forest that day, they had hiked for miles before finding temporary shelter in an abandoned hunting cabin. From there, they'd moved gradually northward, avoiding cities and cameras, until finding this remote location near a lake that needed environmental monitoring. Elena had contacted trusted colleagues, establishing a new identity as a freelance environmental researcher. Her reports on water quality and wildlife populations were submitted digitally, no face-to-face contact required. And Neptune? The remarkable dog who had survived the impossible had finally found peace. The training that had once been used to test his limits now served a new purpose, helping Elena track wildlife, navigate difficult terrain, even predict weather changes with his heightened senses. The chip had been successfully removed by Chen's contact in Portland. The mysterious marking had faded. There had been no sign of pursuit for months. Each morning, Neptune swam in the lake, not as a test of endurance, but for the simple joy of it. Each evening, he sat beside Elena on the porch, watching the sunset with contented eyes. You know, Elena said, sipping her coffee, I've been thinking about those dolphins we were studying when I found you. Their migration patterns had changed. They were traveling further, staying together in new formations. Neptune looked at her, head tilted. Maybe they were evolving, she continued, adapting to a changing world, just like us. Later that day, a rare delivery truck made its way up the remote road, bringing supplies Elena had ordered. The driver, new to the road, commented on Neptune as he unloaded packages. Beautiful shepherd, good guard dog? Elena smiled, watching Neptune sit calmly, observing the man's every move with those intelligent, knowing eyes. He's much more than that, she said simply. He's a survivor. That night, as stars emerged above the mountains, Neptune lay beside Elena's chair on the porch. His past, the experiments, the open ocean, the desperate swim against death, seemed like another lifetime. Elena ran her hand along his back, feeling the strong, steady heartbeat of an animal who had defied the impossible. They wanted to see how long you could survive, she whispered, but they never expected you to truly live. Neptune sighed contentedly, eyes closing as crickets sang in the darkness. He wasn't Asset P7 Oceanic anymore. He wasn't an experiment or property. He was Neptune, the dog who conquered the sea. And he was home. If this incredible story of survival and second chances touched your heart, don't forget to like, subscribe, and share. Every week, we bring you remarkable true stories that remind us of the extraordinary bonds between humans and animals. Remember, sometimes the greatest acts of courage aren't conquering mountains or winning battles. They're simply refusing to sink when the whole world is water.